Welcome to Camper Trailer of the Year 2021, brought to you by the power of Red Arc. Today we are looking at the Bluewater Lachlan MKII, a vastly improved version of an already exceptional forward fold camper. Kath, in terms of the intended purpose and who's going to buy this camper, what was standouts for you?
This is crying out for a family of four who want some fun in the sun. We've got a really well-designed camper here. It's got a 2400 ATM, a Terra 1720, so you've got 700 kilo payload there. But the real standout with this one was you don't expect to see something really new when you come to this style of camper. There's a lot of similar sort of designs and looks and feels. But here we walked up and the first thing we saw was a really sensible tropical roof with spacer bars all the way across the frame, kept that thing from flapping. And that complemented with that 300-degree eWing awning that they've developed. Now, I haven't seen that before.
That has to be one of the best tropical flyers we've seen here.
Now, last time we looked at this Lachlan a couple of years ago, one of the comments was too many poles. So the team have gone away and have they ever fixed that? There's no poles inside. Outside, that's 4 poles to get the eWing up. That's their short stay. And that's 4 wings for a short person like me. Another 4 poles will get you the extended awning out. A really impressive approach. The other thing too was little attention to details. I don't know if you noticed near the kitchen area there was a little snake coil that had the water and the gas plumbing, so that when you push that slide back in, you don't get that really unpleasant arrangement where everything gets tangled up in the drawer. This sort of technology, you see it all over the place in domestic settings, but you don't see it in camper trailers. A really nice touch.
I don't know whether you're familiar with it, Tim, but Bluewater were the first to introduce this snake track to run their gas and their water line. I'm surprised it isn't used in other camper trailers.
And David, what about overall quality?
Well, the overall quality is great. This is a camper that sits on a 150 by 50 by 3 chassis. The main body is all zinc anneal. It's primed and then 2-pack paint over the top. Front box is aluminium, obviously for weight. The basic chassis and bodywork comes in from overseas, but everything else is done here. This is all Australian suspension, gas, water, electricity, Australian canvas, and you can really see where the little touches come in and the ability to continually fine-tune this. They're doing it incrementally as they're going along here in Australia. Glenn, does this translate in good off-road ability?
Yeah, well, talking about the suspension, they're using an independent suspension, but they've included level coils and Ride Pro shocks, which improves that no end. Also changed the brakes to a 12-inch Holroyd brakes and drum system, which meant that it actually towed really well when we took them on the test track.
So Kath, one of the attributes I find really interesting is this camper has a really good warranty on its springs and shocks. It's got 5 years on the level supply springs, and 3 years or 60,000 Ks on the Ride Pro shocks.
Comfort-wise, there's a Truma 14-litre hot water system that gets fed from the 50-litre and 110-litre poly tanks, and that was via a C-flow pump. There were 2 120 amp hour AGM batteries, then the solar was easy to connect. The hot water is also plumbed directly to the sink and to an external shower point. For ease of use, definitely not having to adjust any poles when setting up that camper makes it a heck of a lot easier than a lot of the other forward fold campers that we saw today. And the kicker for me was that tropical roof. You know, it covered the whole canvas, the poles that kept it nice and taut, doesn't flap around, absolutely brilliant. So Tim, what were your thoughts on the X Factor and the value for money?
From a value for money point of view, we're $42,500. So it's at the high end of an imported chassis and body. But that quality, we haven't seen that quality before on a trailer like this. Like, it's really good. And the Aussie-made canvas, big fan of that. The Thetford stove, the level springs, the Ride Pro shocks. I think it's actually very good value for money. The removal of those steps and the excellent heat and air management on the inside has to be the big X factor for me.